In today's podcast, I have my beautiful wife, Giselle Alvarez, on behalf of the upcoming Mother's Day, and you have asked me to be on this podcast.
Yes, I've been wanting to come on the podcast for a long time. I think it's important. I think I should be here.
Yes. So I was a little bit nervous about doing this, but I said, hey, it's Mother's Day weekend. There's no better time than to honor you for Mother's Day weekend. So welcome to the Transition Podcast. My environment, my home, full control. You're in my territory.
And you are in my territory, because this is where everything happens, in my house.
So babe, as you know, Mother's Day weekend is coming up. Yes. Well, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. Where you were born, where'd you go to school, and just a little bit about you.
Oh God, okay, so my name is Giselle, and I am Fernie's wife, a mother of two of Sean and Olivia. But see, I'm gonna cry. There's no way, I'm not gonna cry already. All right, so I was born and raised here in Miami. I'm a crier, I cry automatically. Why am I crying already? That's awful. I'm not doing that. All right, well anyways, so I was born and raised here in Miami. I graduated from Southwest and I went to FIU, and I met you a few years later in 2007. We got married and I had two beautiful kids, and I worked in my job for a long time. I was an executive assistant to this person, and you asked me to stop working because obviously the kids took over, and I became a stay-at-home mom.
Which is interesting because you always worked since the day I met you.
Yes, I've always had a job.
Been a worker. And I know you've worked since you were 15 years old. I think you had.
Yes, I loved working. I am a worker.
But I do remember clearly when you were pregnant with Sean. Unfortunately, I remember at that time, our healthcare was changing, and you went from, I believe, something happened with.
Awful. But anyways, it doesn't matter.
Anyhow, long story short, I just said, hey, I was starting in the industry, in the insurance world, trying to figure out what I was gonna do with my life. And I said for you, just stay home.
Stay home.
Focus on the kids, and I will do my best to bring home the bacon.
And that was my transition in life, I think.
That was a transition. Wow, that was a rough patch.
That was hard. It's still hard, but it's so much easier now.
Well, much easier now than it was.
Much easier than it was. And that, to me, was a huge transition. That was like my transition in life, going from having a job, being a worker, having my own income, my own paycheck, insurance, 401k, and then you asking me to stay home, and then I have to be a full-time mom.
Which leads me right to where I wanted to go with this. I know that was always a big transition for you. I know that it wasn't natural for you to not have your own financial independence or your own earnings as somebody who worked since they were little. Obviously, life took you in a different direction at a young age where you had to make financial commitments, and you worked since you were little. What was that like for you? Because I think there's a lot of moms out there that go through that in their life. They're at a point in their life where they don't know, they feel like they kind of lose themselves, right? Like in some weird way, like you find yourself, because obviously I think it's a natural tendency for most moms obviously to want to be nurturing and taking care of their children. But what was that transition like for you back then?
Oh, that was hard. That was really, why am I gonna cry? That was really hard. That was hard because I enjoyed working. I enjoyed being, having my own job, but then I wanted to be a mom, and I had to be a mom, and I wanted to, be there for them all the time. And then all of a sudden, you asked me to be home, but then when I was home, I didn't want to be home. I hated it. I hated waking up and doing the monotonous of feeding, cleaning, doing everything, you coming home expecting the world from me. And then I'm like, I'm so tired. I've done this all day, every day. I don't want to feed anybody. I don't want to pick up. I just want to go outside, be by myself, just leave me alone. And you have such guilt when it comes to that, because it's like, am I doing the wrong thing? Am I being a bad mom? Am I not being, and then you have to be a wife, and then you have to be, a friend, and you have to be a daughter, and you have to be, it's so many roles that a woman takes on. And sometimes it feels like nobody really like appreciates that, or it kind of flies under the radar. And I had a really hard time transitioning from being me to being a mom. But then the older I get and the more experience I get, this is what I was meant to do. And I wouldn't take that away. Like, I love it. I love my job. I really do.
You're not going to make me emotional.
No. Well,
I'm trying not to.
I try not to cry.
No, I know.
I told myself I was not going to cry, but here I am.
No, but listen to me, no. But I'm glad that you're being vulnerable and honest about that, because I do think I think there's a huge misconception out there. Like, I know what you do every single day. I know the responsibility. From the minute I wake up, there's breakfast, there's kids being,
sometimes the wife feels unappreciated about it, Cool. And then I tell myself it's not your fault either, because it's easy to blame you and say he doesn't get it. He doesn't get what I do every single day, because I don't get what you do every single day.
Exactly, and I think most relationships, I think it's a fair statement to say, like, at some point there's always the I don't want to call it an argument, but like, you don't understand what I do, and you're
an argument till this day. It's still an argument.
Correct. I mean, and we're all carrying our weight, and we're all doing the best that we can. But there's no doubt. Like, I love that I have you at home with the kids. I've always said, you know how I feel about that. Like, as long as Mama Bear and my cubs are together, I feel safe, and I think it's just a very healthy environment. And look, for me, it's watching you raise the kids is amazing for many reasons. Obviously, I grew up in a household where my parents were divorced, and I never knew what it was like to come home to a mom and a dad. And, when we have dinner together, these are things that we've learned to do together. I mean, it's not like we ever lived that. So, sometimes even to this day, when I'm sitting at a dinner table with you and with the kids, and I'm like, okay, like, this is normalcy. This is what life is supposed to look like. This
is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And not to say that we haven't had our challenges, because God only knows that we've had, and I think everybody does. I think every relationship goes through something. Specifically, even at the beginning, when I was helping, build the company, and a lot of sacrifice, and I'll be real about it. The stress levels were so high, and you're so all in, and I think a man bears such a financial responsibility by nature. You just kind of feel like you have to be that guy. But anyhow, I love the fact that
I get to stay home and control the situation. I'm the CEO. What am I? The CEO of the house, not the CFO, because I do very bad financial decisions.
You're not the CFO.
But babe, I am.
No.
In a way.
No, but anyhow, what I will say is having you. I will say I actually get annoyed sometimes when I hear the word stay-at-home mom. I think people use that word very loosely.
Like we're not sitting here sunbathing.
Correct.
All day.
I know you're not, for a fact, and
I wish I could. I really wish. I do contemplate sometimes going outside and just laying out, but I get super anxious because I'm scared they're gonna find me like that and I get in trouble. So no, but I wish I really would do it, but I can't. I just can't. I don't have time for that. I really don't. It takes a lot. It's a lot of work all day, every day. And I tip my hat out to all the moms who work 9 to 5 and then have to do what I do every single day.
And we've talked about that. Like I see it in my office. I see the moms that have to, go through traffic, get to the office. God only knows what their morning was like, because they have their kids, they have their husbands, we're all people and living this life. And the fact that they're there in this high stressful, thank God, I've always said JAG is not perfect, and JAG Hub now is not perfect. It's an extremely healthy environment, but we're all human beings going through life, and I have an admiration for moms because I know the weight that you carry.
It's a lot.
The love, the worry, sometimes the worriness, is my son or my daughter. The homework.
It's like the number one thing. You go home, you go to work, and then, when you have to take your kid to a doctor, how do you ask your boss to go to the doctor? It's awful. Awful feeling.
At JAG, we welcome that, and we also welcome for all of our moms to be involved with their kids' games, whatever it may be. We understand that, and I think any healthy institution and organization has, I think, hopefully evolved towards that.
Yeah, I think so. Even with the whole pandemic hitting, I think a lot of moms have been able to kind of, work from home. And I see it with my best friends who work and who are working moms, and they're able to stay home. And it makes me very happy for them because they have that leeway. And mind you, half of the time they want to go to work because it's so hard to stay home and do the monotonous things of life, with kids. And like yesterday was a day was crazy for me. And it's like, it doesn't ever end. Like, I know I wake up and I'm not going to go to sleep to 10:30 at night after everything is done, because I know the things it takes every single day, to get there. But again, I am blessed to have that, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Babe, again, one of the things that I love about you, and I'm so blessed to be married to you about, is the fact that you're an amazing mom. Like
I try. I'm not the best. I have my moments.
You have that's good. I like when you lose it every once in a while. Every once in a while she gets pissed off. It's actually pretty fun.
Like the past 3 days in the car.
That's good. It's healthy. You should every once in a while, throw the.
I do the mosquito swab.
The mosquito swab, yeah.
Yesterday I told Michael, guys, I don't want you to talk. Don't talk. And they all look at me, Mom, why do you like that? I'm like, I can't hear you right now. I don't want to hear noise. And it's 7:05 in the morning. That's awful to feel that way.
Let me ask you a question, babe. You now, Olivia's 10, Sean is 8. They're obviously growing, and I wish that you know how I feel about that. That's why I get emotional. I wish I can keep them little, but obviously, like my grandmother used to say, you have to prepare your children for the world, not for yourself. But what advice would you have, maybe for like a young mom who's starting, maybe somebody, a young mom who's kind of in a situation like you were,
she's in the mess.
Well, she's in the mess. Her husband's trying to build this legacy, this empire that is going to be. Provide a lot of fruit for their family. I mean, you went through it with me, so I saw you go through so many phases. I know it's gonna be a whole long conversation, but
I want to try
to keep it simple. I think it has to do a lot with personality and the person. A lot of the generation that's coming up now, I think everything's like 50-50. If I wash the dishes, then you have to bathe the kids. And if you do this, I do that. And I am the opposite of that. And it's not that I am, I know we have to be submissive to the husband, but I really do think I don't like to say I take a step back because I'm not behind you, I'm next to you. But I do feel that I have to let you. And I think this is why you are where you are. And I give myself the credit because I truly do, because I let you be who you are. When you call me and tell me you have dinners 4 nights a week, I don't tell you that's not fair. I'm not going to dinner. Like, how come? And I'm saying, you know what? There's a reason for this. And I know that I have to kind of take a seat back and kind of let him just take the lead. And I think my advice to any young mom who's in the mess, who's in this, who's upset, because what it is that you're in the mess and you're mad because you're mad. Because when is it my time? How come I don't have 5 minutes to go to the spa? I don't have time to go do my nails. I don't have time to do my hair. I don't have this, and he can go golfing, and he can do this, and he can do that. And people know Fernie. Fernie goes golfing. Fernie goes to the gym. Babe, listen.
I go to the gym at 6 a.m, dude.
But I
get up at 5.
But I know what I deal with, Johnny. I know my people. I know personalities. So my advice is you kind of have to just kind of work together, pray, honestly. I think that together, I think that's one thing that in our family cycle or whatever, God has been such a center for us that without him, I don't think I could have survived. I don't think we would have been still married, put it that way. Because we've been through the roughest times together. And it's because I am learning to be a mom. I'm learning to be a wife. I'm learning to do all those things at the same time. And I have to perform. And I'm saying perform in the sense that I have to have my A game. You come home and you don't want to see me in leggings and my hair put up in a bun. I tell a lot of my friends that. They get so upset. They're like, what do you mean? And I said, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like when I come home and I look like a hot mess. Like, he wants me to look like put together. And you're like, how am I going to put myself together when I've done all these things for everybody else?
True, man.
It is true. But say the truth. You don't like that? You want me to be home in leggings when you get home?
No, I prefer that you're not. I said it. But that's gonna sound bad, but I know what I'm trying to initiate.
Listen, everything Fernie says always sounds bad, but it doesn't. If you know who you are, if they know who you are, they know that that's not. And it's the truth. I think that if I was working and I got home and my husband looked like a slob, and not that I look like a slob because we're decent looking, whatever, but I think I would be like, come on, babe, if you were sitting down playing, I don't know.
No, I'm just being
circle back. The advice that I would give any young mom in that situation is A, prayer, B, I don't say that you got to let him go and you kind of put yourself back. But understand what you carry. I can't imagine speaking to half of the people that you speak to or dealing with the transactions that you deal with, or you knowing that one day you're going to carry a family and you're going to have kids. That's a big job as a man. So how am I going to pull you back and say, no, you can't go because it's not my time. I got to go do my nails. No, dude. He's makes the bread in the house. He's the one that has to provide for the family. He's the hunter. He's the one that's going to go and, so I think I do a pretty good job about that with you.
No, you do. You do. You've always allowed me to play my game. Yeah. Now, and look, I'm not and it's about me. I don't just go to a dinner to take a dinner. I'm.
Oh no, work dinners. They're not dinners going out.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to dinner just to. There has to be an intention. Obviously, I love to build relationships. I don't, from a business perspective, our clients are valuable and they're people and they become friends in life. But thank God I have a lot of friends in my world as well, and clients that they're dads and they want to be at home with their families, and we're not just doing things just to get out away from the house for other purposes. But I will say that yes, you've always allowed me to play my game. You know that I've always, since I was a child, I've always dreamed big and whatnot. But and thank God it's worked out now. You hit something that obviously I feel strongly about is that you said, if it wasn't for God, you and I wouldn't be where we're at. And it's funny because that's a fact. And
yeah, it's true. It's true. This is hey, welcome to our house, our issues. No, I'm just kidding.
No, at all. There's obviously in the last, I would say last 45 days, so much has changed in our life, and things have accelerated at a very, high pace. And as I've gotten to kind of when we were going into the acquisition with Hub, I knew my life was going to change, but you kind of don't. It's like being an athlete and you're waiting for that day and then it happens and you're like, I can't believe this is actually happening, and then it's happened and you just have to a little bit to process. As I've taken some time to kind of reflect, and looking back, I wish I could have filmed this whole, people, I go back to athletes always. Like, it's like you always see the athlete on ESPN and he or she is playing and things look amazing and they have the nice house and they drive the nice car and they have this abundant life, but nobody ever sees that process. Nobody ever saw when things were very hairy, when things were like, not for sure. And not that anything's for sure, because you still have to perform every single day. But even in our marriage, like, you have to perform. And I think, you know, as I've looked back, God has been in the game the entire time. Like, it's, and there's so much sometimes. Lately, I've been struggling with. You want everybody, the people that you love, and the most specifically in life, you want them to have what you have, and you want them to know what you know, right? Because you want to share that so that they can have that. And I've realized in my life that sometimes, and this is where I've come up with my new hashtag, Live It, for the podcast. It's like, you want to say so much, and you just realize, like, the best thing that you can say is just to live it and watch the fruit happen, and know that that's God's way of showing people, like, what he can do for them in their life if they actually just surrender a little bit. Like, give him an opportunity to, like, just work in you. And I think people will be in such a healthier place and in such a healthier mindset if they just allowed God in their lives. And I know that sometimes, you know, human beings, we all have scars and we all have walls and we all have our culture and the way we were brought up, but we're not aliens, and we're not here by mistake, and we're not living this life like without a purpose. And I think that, as you saw, babe, there were many times in my life where, you know, I always go back to the one story where I had a terrible panic attack one night years ago, probably 10 years ago or something like that, 9 years ago, and we were living in Palmetto Bay, and I literally thought I was gonna die that night. I'll never forget that. And I was just going through so much emotions, so much fear was in me. I mean, I had never, ever seen so much fear in my life. And I grabbed an album that my mom had made, and it was clips of me playing, and I found a picture of me with I can never say this story without getting emotional. I found a clip of me smiling, playing baseball, and I kept telling you, "Where's that guy?" And you looked at me and you said, "He's right here. He hasn't gone anywhere."
Right there, babe. See?
He was.
Tried. Ooh.
Anyhow, that guy had not gone nowhere.
No.
That guy was in his transition.
He was in the transition, and I was
the toughest transition of my life. You know, I was learning to define me, and my point is, it was because of you that I was able to overcome all of that. It's like God put you in my life in the darkest time, because I remember getting so frustrated early in a relationship, and I would say, "You don't know me. You've never met me."
Oh, how many times I've heard that? 1,001 times. You still say it.
And now you got me. Like, I feel like, you know, like.
I do, and it's
But in that moment, it's so hard to.
kind of even go back to what you were saying about moms that are living that life now. You just gotta let the guy just kind of do his thing, and in a way that, you know, obviously it's together, and it's hard. It's hard. Everything is hard, but then it's so easy and it's so amazing, because it is. Like, being a mom has been so fulfilling in a way that I always knew I was going to be a mom. Like, I always said I was going to get married and I was going to be a mom, and I wanted to have 6 kids. I mean, I would not have 6 kids now. I would even have 4 or 3. I can stay with my 2. But I always said I was going to be a mom, and I knew that. And the reason why I say that is because I had the best mom ever. So.
Well. Yes, and the apple does not fall far from the tree. You do have an amazing mom who's even taking me on, like, if I'm her own kid,
Then yeah, she cares about you more than anybody else. Yes, she does.
She loves on me tremendously. I mean, I've been so blessed to have an amazing mother-in-law who, you know, she just...
One mother-in-law. I have two.
You do?
I have two mother-in-laws. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Lucky me. I love you, Nancy and Myra. You guys are good people.
But no, we've been blessed. But your mom is definitely somebody who nurturing like yourself.
Yes,
loving is an understatement.
Yes.
And somebody who just genuinely cares. But anyhow, babe, I wanted to just have you on the podcast.
I appreciate being here. I really enjoyed it.
I hope that...
You're going to ask me like questions? Do you want to ask me another question, like a fun fact?
No, I really, you know what I wanted today?
Honey, I want him to ask me.
I know there's a relationship out there that is
in a rut, right?
In a rut.
And it's, I hate to say this, it's almost healthy. It's almost like it has to happen.
It is. You have to go through those storms in order for you to, and I'm not saying that my storm is any lighter right now.
Correct.
Because I think that we all go through seasons. I think it's just like a season of...
Well,
I think we've matured spiritually, and when you mature spiritually, and you
like the person more.
As you what?
You like the person more. Like there's days that you like them more than other days. It's the truth.
It's the truth.
Correct, babe.
Right?
Yes, babe. But you get stronger, and you can withhold more. But again, in conclusion, I will say that without God in the center of your life, I
don't even know how you can survive.
I think that the foundation becomes very weak, and it will be exposed at one time. And I think when you have that anchor, when you have God, and you look at your kids, and you look at your husband, and you look at your wife, and you say, you know what? This is so much bigger than just my feelings right now. And I've always told you this, and I know that this sounds awful, because it's how you say it. But you know me. But see, you
No, it is. I've got it. Listen,
But
my mom has to like I had to call her that day that you said that.
I know, and that because it sounds awful.
Because
Is great at saying things, but his intensity and his delivery is not in par. But it's okay.
Well,
it's okay.
I think I'm a person who's very fair, and I'm very direct.
Ooh, very, very direct.
Very, very loving, and but anyhow, this is not about me. But what I'm trying to say is,
Say the quote.
I just say I've always said my commitment is greater than my feelings, and the reason why I say that is because your feelings fluctuate. Sometimes you wake up happy, sometimes you wake up pissed off, sometimes life takes you.
Right.
But if you're committed, then you just realize, okay, well, I may not feel good right now, but in an hour, if I don't fight back, like I've learned to, emotional intelligence, and I know that I can, at least myself, I can be a very high strong individual. I have a no nonsense personality. I love that about myself, but I know where it can be a weakness sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I will say in conclusion that when you have God and you have a love at the core, all of those feelings, all of those
It really is just
emotions that we're just going through, they go away, and you realize, you know what, like my family, my wife, my children, that's my gift. That's what God did. So anyhow, I just wanted to say thank you on Happy Mother's Day for being an amazing wife, for being an amazing mother, for being an amazing friend. And you know what? I'm proud of you for being so beautiful.
That's my mother and my father. Thank you.
But I love you, baby.
No, I love you
Happy
too.
Mother's Day.
Thank you, babe. That was really nice. I enjoyed being on this podcast, even though I want to ask you like a question. Like, what's your favorite movie? Can I ask you something? Like, what's your favorite movie?
What's your favorite movie?
Top Gun.
What's my favorite
What's my
movie?
favorite movie?
Oh, babe, don't do this to me.
Okay, what do I like to eat? What's my favorite meal? What's my favorite meal? Like if I can bring something home that you don't like for me to eat, because you don't like when I eat this, what's my favorite meal ever? Not sushi. Sushi is yes.
Piste, arroz con frijoles, or no, camarones enchiladas.
That's my favorite meal, yes, you're right. But, okay, that's fine. I'll give you that. What else can I ask you? That's it. Oh, what's my favorite meal that I cook for you? What's your what's the meal that I cook that you love the most?
Oh, Taco Tuesdays have become fire. Yeah, that's evolved on me. You make a solid fettuccine.
Yes, I learned from the best, my best friend, Diane.
No, you're creative with meals.
I'm very blessed that my wife cooks, by the way. Well, thank you for coming on, babe.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I
Really enjoyed this time with you, babe. I love you too.
Thank you.
Oh my God.